Yes, everybody. Rush to the West End Network. Hope you're safe and well. The Whispering Button is back with my Tuesday musings. It's far too early. It's going to be a bit of a scorcher today as well. It's the same this week as well. But will it be a scorcher when it comes to the West Ham transfer rumour mill? It does seem so. Currently over 122 players we've been linked with. And today, and the purpose today is twofold, really. One's to talk a little bit about an article that was on Hammers News, I think it was, which identified or honed in on the positions we are apparently being linked with, which doesn't seem enough, in all honesty. And then secondly, to talk a little bit about Gonzo's video yesterday. Obviously, Gonzo put out a video yesterday talking about accusations and stuff like that made against him, and anyone who watched the channel, I've heard similar, probably not to the extent of Gonzo, to be honest, but people calling me out, calling me a stooge, and saying, calling me out, saying I'm paid by the club to put the right narrative out there. It's bullshit. I've never been paid by the club. I've never been told by the club what to say, despite the fact, obviously, I work at the club. I've never been told that I have to say this, or I have to do this, or don't put this in, or take this down. No. Not at all, not in your Nelly. I just have a differing opinion. Some people as well, and because the opinion is different, it's not the same narrative as someone else. Therefore, you are a gaslighter, you are a stooge, and sort of, I know we put ourselves out here, we do videos and stuff like that, but the likes of Gonzo and himself and Nick from Clarendon Booze rather, and Gio and Nicky and Ryan and everyone, and they're all human beings as well, and they're just trying to give their opinions. And I think some people forget that. If I would never single out people who have said nasty things about me, but there are a lot, and you can go through, and I have the DMs and stuff to prove it. But anyway, I always just put that out there because it's important. I don't want to have to preface every video to saying this information is not being paid by the club, but it seems like sometimes you have to. In the same way, I'm saying when we talk about transfer rumours, I'm not saying we are signing all of these players. We have been linked to 122 players. That's over 5 Premier League squads worth. We should probably, to be honest, need by the end of the season with injuries and stuff like that. Anyway, let's talk about this this article. It's stated that West Ham are looking to sign 2 forwards, 1 key midfielder, and a goalkeeper. 4 players. Huh? How many we got rid of already? 5, and that's before we've started selling. I can't see us only trying to sell 4 players in. That might be the key objective. And if you look at, I mean, you could probably guess who the key people are. You're thinking goalkeeper, probably going to be Aaron Ramsey. Aaron Ramsey? That'd be interesting. Let's put the Cardiff midfielder, Aaron Ramsdale, I meant. That's one option. That will probably most likely be that option because it will be a cheaper option. I imagine loan to buy, possibly. For the 27-year-old, I've got to check my stats. Everyone moans about me. I think it's 27, 28, something like that. So there we go. Midfielder, key midfielder. Are they assuming Rafael Onyedika is going to be that key midfielder, 24-year-old? Club Brugge does seem to be high up the Nigerian midfielder in the data-driven approach to Carl McCauley and Graham Potter. And also, again, I want to. This is almost a trail of consciousness today, but Carl McCauley, I think people are, as I said, they've been accusations have been thrown under the bus and stuff like that. To be honest, don't think, one thing that our current owners don't do is buy staff out of their contracts. They go for the cheap options, don't they? The out of work options. They had to pay over £1 million just to get Carl McCauley at West Ham. So to be accused of him being thrown under the bus, that's a lot of chunk of change of Mr. Sullivan's money, which which he wouldn't want to spend in the first place. And I totally believe that was part of the negotiations with getting Graham Potter in. Was you need to buy Carl McCauley out of his Chelsea contract. I need Carl McCauley here, and then get rid of Tim Stein at the same time. And so that would have cost him money to break the contract to Tim Steidten as well. I don't know how much that would have been. And also to get rid of Lopetegui, to bring in Potter, you're probably paying the best part of 10 million quid for ins and outs. So to then say that, he's been thrown under the bus, he's, just a data boy and stuff like that. I don't think it is. I just think we're just not particularly experienced. I do think we have done a wrong 'un by not having a director of football in. And I've stated that quite a lot of times, having someone whose job is just football operations related. If we're led to be believed, there'll be McCauley, there'll be Potter, and there'll be negotiations from Baroness Brady or Sullivan. And the issue being is, particularly from Sullivan, as a shareholder, there is a conflict of interest there as well, in terms of spending money. There is. And I don't agree with the narrative that, they're just they're deliberately not buying to walk into relegation, because actually that would lose him money. So it's in his best interest at the same time to get the best possible side together, because it is very much a situation where the more money the club make, the more money he makes, and the more money she makes, and the more money they make, and Kredinsky makes, and stuff like that. So I think it's too easy to say this or that. There's always shades of grey. I always think there's shades of grey of everything. Anyway, back to that. This is a random. I do apologise, but I've had so many things muddled in my brain recently. But anyway, so let's say we've got the goalkeeper, the midfielder, the two forwards. I mean, you would assume Hamza Yamane, I'd say, 22-year-old Rangers Moroccan international striker, 15 goals and 2 assists in 27 starts for Rangers last season. He's 22, Raphael's 24. Yes, Ramsey's going to be 27. I'd prefer Noah from Freiburg. He's in his early 20s, I'll say. But then that comes down to Mular, really. And then the second forward, could the second forward be Bojan from Stade Rennes, 10 to 11 million quid, which all in all would probably 15, 30, would probably be about 45 million, 50 million if Ramsdale came on loan. That's about 50 million quid, which don't seem a lot and doesn't seem enough. It doesn't seem enough in terms of what we need. We need a goalkeeper. We need two midfielders, I suggest. We need a fullback, because, again, we've got the AFCONs looming over us potentially. In the end of December into January, we could be losing. Well, I mean, when I've Caduce, did Ghana qualify? I don't know, but in terms of Congo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka could be lost for a month, and we know how busy that period is over Christmas. So, Raphael, if we buy him, Nigeria, they'll be at the AFCONs as well. So, and Morocco, did Morocco qualify? So two of those players are could potentially Morocco AFCON 2025. He's in Morocco, isn't it? I think yes. So they're in there. They're actually we're playing Congo in their Group E, and that's the World Cup qualifiers. Russ sort it out anyway. Regardless, ignore it's going so swimmingly today. So you could buy those players, but two of those players aren't going to be around for a month potentially. So you need more than that, mate. You need more than that, boys. We're proverbially linked with the likes of Igor Jesus and Yuri Aborto and some Brazilian-based players. But I think we're, as I said, I haven't hit the panic button just yet. But when you look at that and look at what that report said, and again, we take everything for a pinch of salt, but if that report was right, then having 4 targets doesn't seem enough by a long shot. So I think credence for that article, for me, it's got to be 6, 7. And that's the question I want to ask you. What's the minimum number of players? What's the minimum number of bodies we have coming in terms of the players we have need to bring in, and position-wise as well? I think, for me, goalkeeper. I think we need a goalkeeper, a challengeable second goalkeeper. I think we need a fullback, and ideally a fullback who can play left and right back. And I just think we need Kyle Walker-Peters. I really do. And then in terms of, I think we need at least one midfielder. This is before we've sold players, but this is just to cover the players we've got rid of. One midfielder, 2 forwards. Yeah, I can see that, because actually, if you look at the players we've left, apart from the fullback issue or the defender issue, Cresswell and Soufal, that would cover, and Zuma as well. That would cover the goalkeeper, Fabianski's replacement. It would cover the 2 forwards in terms of Danny Ings and Mikel Antonio, and midfielder. We know midfield is an area we need to look at. But the defence needs at least 1 centre half, I'd suggest, and 1 fullback. I think the midfield needs 2. I think the forwards at least 2, and then if we let people go like Kudus, he needs to be replaced. Yes, we've got Earthy. Yes, we've got Freddie Potts. I totally, yes, obviously Ollie comes in, Lewis Orford potentially as well, although I think Lewis needs to go out on loan. But how many players do you think we need? How many? And don't say, we need a whole squad, because that's what some people will say. Realistically, how many players do you think we need? I think we need at least 6 new players in before the end, for the season properly kicks on. Well, the end of the transfer window, we'll say that. Anyway, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Keep the faith. Much love. Bye-bye.